Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Clayton's Classroom. Today is already March 7th, and our guest host tonight is Holland Franklin. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us. You know, there's a lot of things you could be doing tonight, and you've chosen to come and spend an hour or so with us and learning together and sharing some different ideas, asking questions. And speaking of that, I want to just put out there, if anyone has any questions that they know of, go ahead and raise your hand by pressing *2, and I'll call on you as soon as we get to that segment. The first thing I'd like to do before we get going is to read our short disclaimer. This call is intended for informational purposes only. Neither the products nor the statements made about the products on this call have been evaluated by the FDA, AMA, or any other medical entity. The views and opinions expressed on this call by Clayton Nolte, distributors, customers, and/or other speakers solely represent the conclusions of said speakers and are not guarantees that anyone using the products will achieve the same results. These conclusions and products are not intended to be substitutes for the diagnosis, treatment, cure, or prevention of any disease or injury, nor should they be taken as substitutes for the advice of a physician. Anyone suffering from disease or injury should consult with a physician. All right, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest host. So we've had the honor of being in the presence of and has joined us for several times that I've been the moderator. And speaking of moderator, my name is Corinne, and I'm going to introduce Holland Franklin. For over 20 years, Holland has been a practitioner of Compass School of Feng Shui with a special focus on electromagnetic and radio frequency safety and water quality. Holland has been a student of holistic health practices for over 40 years, which has included teaching therapeutic bodywork, breathwork, and practicing a somatically based trauma therapy. Her focus is on helping people create a healthy balance to support well-being on every level. Due to her diverse, holistic background, Holland brings a unique perspective to creating healthy environments. Environment affects people in more ways than we realize, and Holland is focused on creating awareness, what these effects are and how they happen, so that people can make effective choices on their own behalf. Holland uses and promotes structured water as one of the most beneficial influences available to increase vitality and balance in all things. Holland, welcome to Clayton's Classroom.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here with everybody. Appreciate it.
Well, we love having you, and I would love for you to introduce Clayton Nolte this evening.
I would love to do that. It is my great privilege to introduce Clayton Nolte, the inventor of structured water units and the founder of Natural Action Technologies. Clayton is a physicist who brings over 40 years of government-level research into the nature of water and how it works. In addition to his scientific expertise, Clayton simply loves water and recognizes that water is a living being whose mission it is to support all life through its inherent abilities to deliver what supports life and to neutralize what is detrimental to life. Clayton serves water, and water serves all of us. It is Clayton's personal mission to bring the life-giving experience of structured water to everyone on the planet. I've had the good fortune to have been using Clayton's structured water units as well as selling them as part of my feng shui work for the past 7 years. And it has been so transformational to have this amazing resource in my life. I'm sure I'm not alone in knowing how much better my life is as a result. I personally wouldn't ever want to be without it. I was sharing with Corinne a few minutes ago that in the 7 years that I've had structured water units, I've only not consumed structured water one day out of that entire period. I was visiting with family, and I got caught up in that and forgot. And all of a sudden, in the evening I noticed, wow, I'm really like irritable and off center. I'm anxious, like what the heck happened? and I realized that I had forgotten to drink structured water that day. And that was it was such a high contrast to how grounded and centered I'd been feeling. I just never wanted to have that experience again. So every day, it's part of my life. I also want to say that in these past 7 years, every encounter I've had with Clayton and everyone at Natural Action Technologies has been one of very high integrity. Clayton and his staff live the integrity that is embodied in structured water. Not only do I trust the water and Clayton, but I trust the company as well. Thank you, Clayton, so much for all you've given us through the years and all the ways in which you're expanding your own consciousness and passing that on to us as well in your great generosity. It's an honor to introduce Clayton Nolte.
Wow. I don't have to say anymore. I don't have to say anymore. But
you better not.
But the thing about it is, we're all here to give what we, and primarily in that giving, it's part of our growing, our evolution. So for Natural Action Technologies and myself, all the technologies that we're creating and that we're bumping into along the way, is part of our individual evolving, our evolvement. We're actually changing as we grow through this uplifting, magnificent technology. It's exciting. Every day is exciting in every way. And one thing I wanted that come to mind when you were talking about who you are, Holland, one of the really, really important things for everybody to consider, when we talk about structuring and structured water brings you into a grounding state. That grounding state is connecting you to the earth. And when you're connected to the earth, basically this is where your potential health and well-being reside, is being connected, being grounded, being let's say, present is another term for it, being present. And a good deal of the conditions of the water today in many homes has to do with the homes themselves not being grounded. Now, you would think that it's an automatic thing because your plug-in has this big connector, which is the ground plug for the plug-ins in all of your homes. But where does that go? Is that truly connected to the earth? Is there a synergy of connection in that grounding state, which is absolutely essential for the health and well-being of the water within you, the water within your home, the water within your community? It's being present. So it is something for people, a relatively simple thing to check. I think it is anyway. I'm not sure, but I think that one could check or have the electric company check. I don't know.
Well, you can actually buy a simple device at a lot of, I think, electronic stores that you can insert into your outlets, and it should show you the state of grounding or lack of that's there, and what it can even sort of slightly diagnose it. And they don't always read 100% accurately, but it is one place that people can start. And a lot of older homes that have not been ever rewired so that they're grounded, if the outlets just have 2 holes instead of 3, of course then that it's not fully grounded. But I learned something recently that you can sometimes what people will do is to install the plugs that look like the house, make it look like everything's going to be grounded when you plug it in because there are 3 holes there, but it doesn't mean that the wiring on the inside is actually up to date with that. So in older homes, you really have to be, you have to have somebody who's a good electrician, really good electrician, come and check that out and see what's true about that. So, and I wanted to say something backwards too about, being in a state of being grounded. If we're not grounded, if we're not, for instance, like barefoot, our feet on the earth, we're also missing out on some of what they call the heavenly energies as well. We're suffering at basically both ends, of ourselves. We're not grounded below, and there's a conduit of energy, that's of the more refined energies, more cosmic energies, that we also have less access to if we're not grounded to the earth. So we're disconnected in more than one way, and that's part of why it is so very important to be in a grounded state and to live in an environment that is supporting that. Because if you have a lot of electromagnetic distress or radio frequency distress in your environment, or even a lot of synthetic materials, like, synthetic carpeting, that also will interrupt that grounded state. So any degree that you get back in yourself, such as when you drink structured water, helps you to access, the whole spectrum of healthy energies that's out there.
Fabulous. That's what I wanted to hear. But I want to, and through this, I want to remind people that there are relatively easy things that you can do, to aid your location, the condition of not only you, but the condition of your home, and your surroundings. This is a very important aspect of who we are and what we're here to do. A good part of it is to be connected to the earth and connected to the cosmos, and our physiology, it points to that, there's a whole lot of us that is part of that connection, so it's something to look into, and I'm really grateful that we have Holland Franklin to aid us to find the understanding of getting us correct, getting us correct potential. And one thing I'd like you to do right now, Holland, is to give your information so people can write it down right now while they're thinking about it.
Okay. Yes, it's easy to find me on the web. I have a website, and it is hollandfranklin.com. You can also email me, holland@hollandfranklin.com. There's an 800 number, which is 800-563-5501. And my landline is 626-794-1817. And, please feel free to contact me with any question or concern you might have.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think it's really important. And this really when you started talking, it came through. It made me break out a pen and write it down. But it is really, really important. There are people on this call right now that this is their solution, or a good deal of their solution. Once you get that grounded state for your home and your environment is in a grounded state, then from there, structured water would aid you anyway. But I'll tell you, it's significantly more advantageous to have the ground state in place when you're looking for health and well-being. So,
I was also telling Corinne earlier before this call that I have a couple of stories I'd love to share with you all. If this is a good time for that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So both these stories have to do with the property where I currently live. And the first one, this is gives you kind of a macro picture, a bigger picture of what structured water can do. I contacted and hired a fellow who's very good with sacred geometry.